Hello and welcome to HW News English. I am Shubham Chohan. Will the Cockroach Janata Party turn into a political party or will it be a pressure group? That is the question everybody has been asking ever since the CJP achieved a mammoth success in Delhi on the 25th of July as Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan finally resigned in the wake of the NEET paper leaks. I am currently in Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar where an all-important meeting of the CJP will begin in just a short while from now. It's a two-day meet that is happening in Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar. I am in fact standing outside the residence of CJP founder Abhijeet Dipke, and the agenda of this meeting is to chalk out a new strategy. What is the future of CJP going to look like? Will they go for the creation of a political party or are they looking at something else? That is the question that answers to which will be given in this particular meeting. From last night, you had spokespersons of the CJP, including Saurav Das, Ashutosh Shankar, Ratna Singh. All of them arrived here in Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar. They visited Abhijeet Dipke at his residence late last night, and the meeting is scheduled to start today. And what we are told is that there will be a press conference tomorrow where the CJP team will outline what their plan is.
Abhijeet, are you saying that the CJP will effectively be a pressure group and not a political party?
For now, the CJP will be a pressure group because what India needs exactly right now is a pressure group.
And this is an important meeting in the larger picture. If you go to see what began with a tweet, what began as a satirical movement online, translated into a full-fledged protest that lasted for more than 1 month on the streets of Delhi. You had students, activists from all walks of life. They offered their support to the protesting students. They braced lathis, they braced the heat, they braced the monsoon, and their demand was very clear. Dharmendra Pradhan has to resign. They achieved that on the 25th of July when the education minister put in his papers. And then you had Prahlad Joshi, who became the new education minister. But once the movement ended, everybody began wondering what the next step of the CJP is going to be, because they started off as an outfit demanding the resignation of Dharmendra Pradhan. Once that was done, there's always a question mark on what the CJP will do next. Will they stick to taking up issues concerning the youth, or will they also take up issues that matter to the people at large? Those are several questions. Among the several questions that have been raised ever since the protest was called off after CJP spokesperson Ashutosh Shankar and Saurav Das addressed a joint press briefing with JP Nadda and Dr. Jitendra Singh, and where they formally called off their protest. The next sticking point, of course, for the next few days was the legal trouble and the legal cases that were filed against students. The CJP was very clear that criminal cases registered against the protesting students have to be withdrawn. And that is like a non-negotiable demand. For the next few days, there was a little bit of confusion whether there was a blanket reversal is what was being called against for criminal cases, or only those with criminal antecedents. Those cases will remain and the rest will be left out of the legal trouble that emanated following the protests. Eventually the Supreme Court said that the states can proceed with the FIRs against those who have criminal antecedents, and that was something that the CJP celebrated as a victory, that students who have been falsely named in FIRs for under sections and charges that is nowhere applicable, that was also celebrated as a victory by the CJP. So that was also out of the way. The other demand was also out of the way, in addition to the resignation of Dharmendra Pradhan. Now, in the last 2-3 days, there have been several developments as far as the youth protest at large is concerned. For starters, Abhijeet Dipke gave several interviews where in some of which he said that, floating a political party is not on the cards, because he said, you've seen what is happening currently in politics. Dipke alleged how investigating agencies were being used to cripple political parties, how the likes of ED and IT were used against them, how SIR and how the election commission is being weaponized to delete voters from the electoral roll. So the point that Dipke was largely making is that it's difficult to be a political party in today's times.
नहीं, देखिए इसमें दो चीजें हैं, जैसे कि अभी क्या हो रखा है, चाहे पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम हो, चाहे जुडिशरी हो, चाहे मीडिया हो, चाहे इलेक्शन कमीशन हो, इन सभी इंस्टीट्यूशन से जनता का भरोसा उठ चुका है, पूरी तरह उठ चुका है। और जो हमारे मूवमेंट को सपोर्ट मिला था वो सिर्फ एजुकेशन तक लिमिटेड नहीं रहा था। जैसे जैसे आंदोलन बढ़ा वो इन सारे इंस्टीट्यूशन के ऊपर जो भरोसा कम हुआ है जनता का, वो गुस्सा दिख रहा था, जंतर मंतर पर दिख रहा था, मुंबई में दिख रहा था, बंगाल में दिख रहा था, चेन्नई में दिख रहा था, देश भर में दिख रहा था। तो इसलिए हमें लगता है इन सारे इंस्टीट्यूशंस में अकाउंटेबिलिटी वापस लाने के लिए और कहीं ना कहीं इन इंस्टीट्यूशंस को वापस से न्यूट्रलिटी वापस लाने के लिए एक पब्लिक मूवमेंट की जरूरत है, पब्लिक प्रेशर की जरूरत है। और पॉलिटिकल पार्टी जो मुझे आज लगता है कि आज जो पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम का जो सिचुएशन है वो बहुत ही खराब है। सुबह लोग किसी को चुनते हैं, शाम को किसी और की सरकार बन जाती है। सुबह एमएलए एमपी हो एक पार्टी का चुनते हैं, शाम तक वो किसी और पार्टी में होता है, और जब वो ना हो तो वो डिलीट हो जाते हैं, और अगर वो भी ना हो तो क्या हो जाता है, अपना जितना भी पार्टी है उसको तोड़ा जाता है ईडी सीबीआई भेजकर। तो ऐसे सिचुएशन में जनता जो है वो त्रस्त हो चुकी है इन सारी चीजों से। इसलिए हमारी पब्लिक मूवमेंट को इसलिए सपोर्ट मिला क्योंकि सारे लोगों ने अपनी आइडियोलॉजीज के ऊपर उठकर, पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज के ऊपर उठकर एक साथ आए। इस जो भी चीजें हो रही है देश में अभी गलत, जो डेमोक्रेसी को वीक कर रही है, उसके अगेंस्ट एक साथ आए और ये गुस्सा दिखाया लोगों ने कि अब जो है इंडिया में एक पब्लिक मूवमेंट चलेगी, एक सोशल मूवमेंट चलेगी।
How will the CJP then proceed is the question. What about their other sort of initiatives, or what are the other student issues that they will take up in the future? That is the question mark that remained. The other point that has happened is you're seeing, after the success of the CJP protest, you're seeing Gen Z and even Gen Alpha, those born after 2012, they have taken to the streets demanding answers, demanding accountability from the government. The biggest protest is happening in Jharkhand as we speak. It is led by the student protest in there. It's led by young students who are protesting against the paper leaks in Jharkhand, and the visuals that you're seeing from Jharkhand are really heartbreaking. Now, what is the stance of the CJP on that? Because one of the allegations against them is the CJP in Dipke are soft peddling it because it is an opposition ruled state. Jharkhand is ruled by Hemant Soren of the Jharkhand Mukti Morcha and in alliance with the Congress.
हमारे जो झारखंड के जो साथी हमारे वो ऑलरेडी वहां पर है, और जरूरत पड़ी तो हम लोग भी जाने के लिए तैयार, और हम जाएंगे जरूर। और हमारी उनसे फोन पर बात भी हुई, वीडियो कॉल पर बात हुई, और हमने कहा है कि आपके आंदोलन को मजबूत करने के लिए जो हो सकता है वो कॉकरोच जनता पार्टी करेगी, और उनकी जितनी भी डिमांड्स हैं हम उनका पूरा समर्थन करेंगे।
One question that everybody's been asking: what about the Punjab paper leak, where you have an Aam Aadmi Party government in place, and there too paper leaks is an issue. Youngsters have been demanding accountability and answers. Now the roadmap of the CJP will be sort of chalked out in these next 48 hours. The other point that everybody's been sort of making is how big or how crucial is this Gen Z vote from a political perspective? How crucial is it going to be? Because you had the recent bypolls in Bakipur where Prashant Kishore won a landslide victory. He defeated the seat that the BJP held for more than 30 years now. It is the seat of the national president, Nitin Nabin, and Prashant Kishore ended up winning with a rather thumping majority. Many experts have attributed it to the fact that the Gen Zs and the young voters, 18 to 24 age group voters, are backing Prashant Kishore and the Jan Suraj. So in the context of electoral politics, where does the Gen Z stand, and will the CJP try to fill that vacuum in one way or the other, or will they just stick to protests and demanding accountability and answers from the government? That is also another sort of subtext to look at what is going to happen in Sambhajinagar over the course of the next 48 hours. Meanwhile, you have, of course, allegations coming in from those supporting the government, the BJP, and particularly the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, who have branded the Cockroach Janata Party as anti-national, as people who are working against the country, as youngsters who are working against the country, and they are misguided. Tomorrow, that is the 6th of August, RSS Chief Dr. Mohan Bhagwat will be engaging with Gen Zs at an event of the IIMU, and it's a conference that will happen in Mumbai tomorrow at the Nita Mukesh Ambani Cultural Center, where the RSS chief will have a dialogue with youngsters of this country. Dipke, of course, welcomed it, saying that, at least they've woken up to the fact that youngsters need to be spoken to, their grievances need to be heard, they need to be heard, and what their demands are. So that is something that one will also keep an eye on. And in addition to that, you have, of course, in the last 2-3 days, you've had a little known influencer who's filed a criminal complaint against Dipke and the organizers of the CJP, saying that they paid protesters, and where did the money against where did the CJP get its funding from? And this particular influencer even alleged that he was beaten up and he was assaulted during the CJP protest in Pune and Sambhajinagar. That was what the claim has been made. We don't have an official clarity on that, on what happened subsequently. But those are among the several key developments that are happening as far as the CJP is concerned. Abhijeet Dipke, Saurav Das, Ashutosh Ranka, and several other volunteers, the core team of the Cockroach Janta Party, has assembled here in Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar to decide their future course of action. In fact, in the tweet that the CJP put out a couple of days ago announcing that they'll have the strategic meet, after that they said that they'll have a nationwide tour where they'll go to different parts of the country to hear out youngsters and what their grievances and what they want. So those are the developments that have happened over the course of the last few days since the protest ended, and what you are expected to get out of this 2-day strategic meet here in Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar is what we will be tracking here on HW News English. But that's all we have for this report. Thank you so much for watching.